All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we're going to talk about something that could be really good for NFTs, all right? And actually the whole crypto space on the whole. And I'm going to kind of connect the dots and show you why that's the case in this video today. We're going to look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in this space since our live stream we did yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel in the morning in the U.S. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions, look at the crypto markets, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.bootcamp to get started today. So last but not least, nothing I'm sending this video is not be financial advice for you. And there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like, I'm never going to give you money, or sorry, I'm never going to ask you for money or ask you to invest with me, like through a DM on, like on the YouTube comments or anything. This is not going to happen. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Automatic Beats. We got David Stone. Let's see here. Aryaman, Camille, Mike, Mark, THX like this. Chris, welcome. Michael. Sorry, brain's a little foggy this morning. Let's go ahead and jump in and get started here, okay? So let's talk about something that could be really good for NFT space on the whole and actually, all of crypto. So we talked about, the NFT boom and what that has, meant for crypto, basically how it has caused lots of people who would normally not be participants in crypto at all, or in the blockchain world, in the Web 3.0 world. That's what I mean when I say crypto. I don't just mean cryptocurrencies. I just use that term to talk about everything that's happening in blockchain, and maybe, the language is changing to talk about that as Web 3.0. So maybe we'll just call it that, metaverse, whatever. So how that could be good for the entire space, because when I talk to normal people who are not heavily into the blockchain space, maybe they know what I do and ask me about blockchain, or they don't know what I do and then they find out and then they ask about blockchain. Almost always they ask about NFTs, okay? So they almost, hardly anybody asks about DeFi or decentralized finance. People ask about cryptocurrencies, but more people honestly ask about NFTs. And so that's kind of an anecdotal evidence to see that this has a much bigger cultural impact, potentially, than cryptocurrencies do. And of course, we've seen the NFT boom happen over this past year. And as a result of that, we've seen marketplaces like, OpenSea make an absolute killing. It's kind of one of the only places you can really trade NFTs on top of the Ethereum platform and a few others, right? There's others, but by far, OpenSea has a ton of market share, okay? And so we can see all this on chain, all right? We can see how much of a killing that they're making. I mean, from billions of dollars in revenue, okay? So, naturally, that has enticed lots of others into this space. So it's like, hey, they're cleaning up so much. That's just an invitation for other people to try to capture some of that, okay? So we've seen lots of other competition, but some notable examples in the past have been Coinbase talking about launching their NFT platform and how they think that the NFT business could potentially be a bigger revenue driver than the crypto trading business. I mean, that's crazy. So that lines up with what I'm saying. The impact on the number of users coming into Web 3.0, coming into blockchain from the NFT sort of stream into this larger estuary could have a much larger impact. And so today I want to talk about a news story that I was talking about where blockchain.com is now introduced NFT marketplace as the interest booms, okay? So we're seeing more and more people jump into this space, okay? And now what's really interesting about Coinbase and I believe blockchain.com's implementation here, I don't have the full details on everything that they're doing here, but I'm assuming this is going to be user experience very similar to a centralized exchange where you are just, purchasing NFTs kind of on this website with a custodian, not directly with a smart contract like you would on OpenSea. So I know there's lots of people that want to trade completely in a decentralized way with their wallet, on the blockchain itself without touching centralized services. There's plenty of people who want to do it that way. But I think this has a potential to bring in a lot more people because it's just like crypto. I mean, honestly, a lot of people don't want to get on there and buy NFTs and then transfer them to their wallet. They don't really care that much. They just want to own it, and they trust a custodian to hold it for them. And now, at the end of the day, like, that's fine with me, because as long as people have a choice of what they can do, right? If they can take it and they want to withdraw it in self-custody, they can do that. If they want to let a third-party custodian hold it, as long as they understand the risks and are using a reputable custodian, it's fine. It's an open platform. That's what blockchain is. It's neutral infrastructure. You can build on whatever you want to. There will be centralized services. It's just that, consumers have to understand the risks of using the centralized services. They also have to understand the risks of self-custody and what that entails. There's always trade-offs. Different profiles are going to choose different things, okay? So it's going to make it easier and reduce the friction for the people who want centralized custodians to control their assets to purchase NFTs. They don't want to fool with wallets, okay? So that's going to increase a greater number of people because of all this friction. Like I said, you got to buy crypto, move it to a wallet, go to either a minting app, or you got to go to OpenSea, and it's just really confusing, okay? So that's going to help. The other thing that's going to help is all the NFTs that exist across different blockchains. You could probably just buy the NFTs all in one place. Okay, so instead of just saying like, I mean, for a new user who comes into crypto, they have to say, okay, I want to buy this NFT, but it's on Ethereum, or I want to buy this NFT, but it's on some other blockchain. It's like, how do I get from, like, there's a pretty steep learning curve, and this reduces all of that for complete newcomers, okay? So that's huge for the NFT space. It's huge for all of crypto because, and all of Web 3.0 is what I'm really trying to say, all of blockchain adoption, because it brings in a lot more people, a potential to, okay? So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you excited about this? What do you think about centralized NFT exchanges? Are they going to be big? Are they bad? So there's my Rarible. Yeah, there's definitely other ones out there for sure. I was talking about how OpenSea has been an absolute, like they've just totally crushed it. And more power to you. That's not a diss by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that lots of people are going to see the amount of revenue that's generating, and they're going to try to capture some of it. I mean, also now that like Coinbase, for example, is publicly traded, you have some transparency, some level of transparency into their earnings, but it's reported quarterly. But that's the cool thing about blockchain is you can see it in real time. Somebody says define normal people, air quotes. That's a good point. Okay, so let's take a look at this here. So I want to take a look at some of the some more details about what's happening in the Ethereum ecosystem right now, particularly around some of the important metrics. Okay, so we're definitely seeing Ethereum exchange balances hit a 3-year low. Okay, of 14 million ETH. All right, so this is a pretty big deal. All right, so basically people are taking ETH off of exchanges. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's like the amount of ETH that could potentially change hands is at a lower point because we have decentralized exchanges. But this metric can point to multiple things. Like there's all the reasons why people want to take ETH off a centralized exchange. For one, they don't want to trade it. They don't want to sell it for something on a centralized exchange. But sure, they might be taking it and parking it into like Uniswap or something like that. And I don't believe those metrics are included in this graph here. So even if that's the case, it still shows demand for ETH being used how ETH can be used. Even if ETH is parked in an automated market maker, it's still being a productive asset for somebody else. Okay, it might be trading hands, might swap ETH for USDC, but it's still getting, parked there. So that somebody can earn yield on it through a decentralized application. Okay, so as you see ETH leaving centralized exchanges, it still just shows that there is demand for ETH. All right, it's just more demand for ETH, less desire to just dump it. So you can also see visualization of the ETH burn. And we've watched this, quite a bit in these live streams, and I want to come back and kind of check up on see how this is doing. We're burning ETH now when new transactions are created, which basically means anytime you send Ether, anytime you trade on a DEX, anytime you swap an NFT, whatever, you pay a transaction fee to do that with Ether. Okay, so part of that transaction fee is getting burnt and erased from the network. Okay, so I mean, in one day we've burned almost 10,000 ETH, and recently, all time since EIP 1559 was implemented in August, we've burned over 1 million ETH. So let's just kind of I think that happened in November. So let's just say it's 1 million ETH per quarter. That's 4 million ETH per year. Right now, that's we're issuing 5.4 ETH per year, so that offsets the issuance quite a bit. So now ETH is not 100% deflationary at this point. It's deflationary in peak periods. So like this is a deflationary block. This is a deflationary block. Anytime you see more than 2 ETH burned per block, that is a deflationary block. Okay. So ETH is likely going to become deflationary whenever the merge happens. So basically when ETH goes from proof of work to proof of stake, so we have this other blockchain running right now, ETH 2.0, it's going to get merged back into ETH 1.0. And whenever that happens, sometime hopefully early in 2022, early-ish, we'll see the issuance drop off a cliff and ETH become deflationary. The whole idea is that you'll be burning 3.3 million ETH per year, but you'll only be creating 0.5. And so actually right now this has the summary, 3.3 ETH, 3.3 million ETH per year is getting burned. So, you can actually visualize this. And I saw this tweet come out, so one reason I want to talk about it. This is consonant with a couple points I just made. One is people are using ETH, they're taking it off centralized exchanges. So whatever the reason is, they might still parking in an automated market maker that somebody else is using to swap the ETH, but they're still paying that person return. You can use it in DeFi. You could stake it on Ethereum 2.0 as it's getting built right now. And that means ETH is becoming productive. And this is what they're saying here. This is how ETH is becoming a productive asset. So you can actually watch this. You can watch the transaction fees being paid to miners and the graphed against the burned transaction fees. And you can watch it go up over time, and you can watch the inflection point in real time whenever EIP 1559 was launched in August. So you can see the fee burning mechanism kick in, and you can watch the transaction fees just flatten. It's pretty crazy. So one other thing I want to talk about is something that I saw yesterday, or actually this morning, excuse me. It's a demo of what we can see with basically how you can kind of get a glimpse into what future participation of crypto can look like for lots of people. Okay, this is the culmination of lots of different pieces of the puzzle falling into place. So let's look at some of the pain points for crypto, or let's look at a use case. What do I think is one of the most scalable use cases for crypto? In essence, like could reach the most number of people, basically give them some benefit they can't get somewhere else, and make it really easy for them to get that benefit. So one is just like high yield savings. Okay, so basically, let's say you get like 0.01% interest, something crazy like that, in your or maybe like 0. Whatever it is, right? It's really small interest rate, negligible interest rate on your cash and your checking account in traditional bank. At least I do. So most people do too. So you could say like, hey, what if I told you could just download an app and click a couple buttons and get like way more than that? Like let's say like 10% or something like that. Okay. With a couple clicks of a button. Like most people have, debit cards already linked on their phones with like Apple Pay, Android Pay. I say most, many people have those payment payment mechanisms, or sorry, payment, what would you call it? They have their cards saved on their phone. And so you could just, what if you could just download an app, couple clicks of a button, transfer funds out of your bank account, and then convert it into crypto, and then boom, with very low fees, you're earning high yield on just cash. So how would you do that with crypto? I mean, because well, you need a stable coin, so we have those, check. You need a mobile app, a mobile wallet with these features integrated, so we have those and gotten a lot better. But one of the last big bottlenecks is the scalability. So basically having low transaction fees and just the apps that allow you to earn those yields, okay? So the low transaction fees, of course, have been a big blocker with technologies like Ethereum, for example, because people, of course, one of the biggest complaints is that Ethereum's too slow, it's too expensive to use. Well, that's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for. Okay, we don't have to wait for Ethereum 2.0 to come out to fix this. ETH 2.0 is not going to fix that problem in and of itself. That's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for, building a second environment on top of Ethereum and then settling those results back on top of Ethereum main chain. So there's lots of different scaling solutions out there, but I made all those points to set up this one piece of news that I saw come out this morning, which is from Argent. So Argent is an Ethereum wallet that basically lets you do exactly what I was talking about. You can download it, a couple clicks of a button. You have a non-custodial wallet where you can, purchase crypto instantly with a debit card. It's already saved to your phone. It's very little friction for you getting started. And you can have crypto inside of your wallet. You can interact with smart contracts that are already on the blockchain just straight from your wallet, okay? Like Argent's an app, but it doesn't have a blockchain on the device itself. Like it just talks to the blockchain, and all these apps are out there, and they just have a interface that's already built for those apps. Now, of course, there's some trust assumptions with that, right? But you can talk to those apps. You can purchase crypto, and instantly you can start staking with like Lido Finance here. Okay, so basically Lido is an app that lets you stake Ether. With less than 32 ETH, with a decentralized staking pool with a Dapp. Okay, so that's actually the yield that I'm talking about. Now, it's not a stable coin like I was saying a second ago, but it's still an example of how you can do something like this. And it actually integrates with ZK Sync. So ZK Sync is a layer 2 scaling solution. We've talked about that quite a bit. It implements zero knowledge rollups, which is one of the scaling solutions I'm really excited about. They're starting to gain traction. Right now, we're seeing a lot of traction with optimistic rollups. It's taking a little more time for zero knowledge rollup solutions to become mature enough with all the features that users want, like Solidity compilers, et cetera, to come to market. But we're starting to see that really soon. And so we're seeing that integrated here with Argent. That was a very long explanation of all this, but that's all the really important pieces that have had to come together to even make this possible. And one of the reasons I, break that down in this detail is you see everything that has to get created, and then that can help you forecast, realistic timelines for the next things that are needed to make these things sort of reach that next level of adoption. And it also is helpful to show that we're at an inflection point where some of these things are coming together really quickly. And it's like, as soon as they're ready, we can just see a blast off. So what are some other things like that? Layer 2 scaling solutions basically getting really dialed in and having rich network effects. The more apps you see on top of there, the more network effect that layer 2s have, like Ethereum layer 1. Like imagine if you get all these benefits that you get on Ethereum right now, but on a layer 2 where it's really fast and really cheap to use. And then you can go purchase your crypto on a centralized exchange and withdraw directly to those layer 2s. And then you're on there and you've got this crazy network effect. You've got apps where you can download. They instantly integrate into these things. You got games that run on top of layer 2s. You got NFTs. Any new metaverse thing that's hot that comes out is supported. I mean, that's where we're headed. Somebody says Solana just passed ETH developers. I keep seeing that in the comments. I think I think I've seen the tweet float around. I think it's fake news. Somebody's got to prove the stats to me. Show me the source. Somebody says, look at the GitHub commits. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So, if you've been in crypto for a very long time, or even if you're just a developer in general, this is a notorious problem. Okay, if you want to say that GitHub commits are, proof of developer adoption and activity, there's so many easy ways to game that metric. Number one, you could create fake developer accounts. And then basically, like if you want to prove that you have more active developers, you have the same developer with 10 GitHub handles. And then, now we have 10 times as many developers because the same developer decided to commit with 10 different aliases, okay? The other thing is, if you find the sheer number of Git commits and say, look, like we've pushed way more code, like you basically, I could just write one line of code at a time and create a commit for that. I mean, it would be insanely boring, but if you really wanted to pay a bunch of people to make it look like your ecosystem's more active, it'd be really easy to do. And yeah, I mean, if you're talking about lines of code being a metric, that's a useless metric because bad code is often more lines than good code. So you gotta really be careful with metrics that are easy to use to game the system. I'm just saying, show me the metrics. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just, you gotta watch out. Somebody says, how does that even matter? Am I insecure? Well, part of what I do in this channel is help people understand what's fake news and what's not, okay? So when are you making the updated video on the blockchain dev guide? So very soon. Somebody says not lines of code necessarily, what to use. Well, part of it's looking at multiple metrics altogether, okay? Can you take a multifaceted view of different metrics to try to understand where, an ecosystem is headed? And part of it, if you look at these metrics, do these metrics actually line up with your own experience? Okay, so like if you had a real pulse on the space and you knew, like, can you, like, if you personally knew 100 developers who use one ecosystem and you didn't know a single developer who was like, yeah, I'm gonna go switch over to this thing, that's pretty close to my own experience, okay? And that's not what I'm seeing. So my layer 2 allows transactions that are revealing identity, like a Starkware and DK sync, yeah. Let's see here. Somebody says, personally, then the next trends are either going to be crypto gaming or ZK rollups. Do you have any thoughts on that? So definitely, I mean, gaming is kind of already becoming a thing. There's a lot of hype around the gaming world. I think there's a lot of potential too, not just hype. Yeah, I mean, I think as soon as we see a lot more ZK rollups projects roll out, we could see some boom around that, particularly if any of them actually end up, having big monetary incentives around them. Somebody says this is only looking at developer contributions for the core source code of the blockchain, not developers building on the app layer. How many L2s do I think will hang around for the long run? That's a good question. I don't know, to tell you the truth. I have a feeling, it depends on what you mean. I have a feeling it's going to be like everything else, where you're probably going to see consolidation around a couple, maybe just one, but I hope at least two. And then you're going to see a long tail fill in the rest. And that long tail will still have some reason probably to exist. I mean, you may have 24, but that doesn't mean that they're going to have equal market share, right? It's just like cryptos. I mean, look at CoinGecko.com. It's got like 1,000 pages on it. Some of those cryptos on page 999 still trade, but like hardly anybody wants to buy it. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master's shortcut entirely, I actually become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.